Well, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about adapting to different hunting conditions, different hunting pressure, just changing things to continuously stay successful year after year. When I was thinking about how I was going to do this video or things I want to talk about, one of the things that kept coming to mind was dedication. Let's just say we're wanting to shoot a 5.5-year-old deer, one of them every year, at least one every year. That's going to take either a whole lot of time in the woods, a whole lot of time in a tree stand, or it's going to take just a lot of thought, preparation, dedication, scouting. Like your main focus is going to have to be that deer or deer hunting. Dedication was just a word that kept coming to mind, but in order to be successful every season, and what I'm saying, being successful, if you're shooting one big buck every season, that has to be like your main focus in life almost. As far as hunting in Florida goes, just because it takes so much effort and energy and conditions, everything is against you in Florida. Our wind, humidity, everything is against the hunter. Everything is in the deer's favor in Florida most of the time. Just like last year, I never really trophy buck hunted, so I don't have the, I guess you would call it, dedication, or it's not my number one priority anymore to shoot a huge buck every year. Don't get me wrong, I would like to, but one of the things, when my dad passed away several years ago, that was one of the things that I thought about, was like, we only have what we leave behind, so is it going to be more beneficial for me to go shoot a big buck every year and that be my legacy, or do I get kids started hunting, take my own kids hunting, make memories with them? So my priority is making memories with the kids, what I leave behind, not what big buck I kill. With that being said, I want to kill big bucks, but it's not going to be every year because I can't put the time or dedication in that it takes when I'm taking kids hunting. The kids are shooting nice bucks and stuff, but we're not trophy hunting. So if I want to be a trophy hunter and be successful every year, that would have to be my main goal in life, basically. But I want to talk about adapting. Like, you can listen to different podcasts. If you listen to different guys just take the Southern Outdoorsman podcast, for instance. There's guys that come on there that love to hunt acorns. There's guys that like to rut hunt. Everybody has something different. But if you only used one method of hunting year round, and all season long and year after year, I don't feel like you would be as successful as if you took every method, any and every method you needed to. Whether there was a time to hunt acorns, then I would be on acorns. But adapting to the hunting pressure, I still say my number one go-to that I look for anytime I'm trying to locate what I would call a shooter buck, is getting away from human pressure or hunting pressure. Some areas deer get accustomed to human pressure that are non-hunters. So, but basically getting away from human pressure, and that could be 100 acres in the middle of 50,000 acres, or that could be a quarter acre in the middle of 50,000 acres. There's a lot that goes into finding a non-pressured area where a buck will feel safe in the daylight. But if I wanted to bed hunt all season long, there would be times that I wouldn't be successful because the bucks are out on their feet and with does and everything else. So I wouldn't be necessarily hunting buck beds. I would be following the does, set up where a buck's going to cruise through, check the downwind of the doe, where the does are laying, things like that. There's a time I would hunt where the does are on feed, and 9 o'clock in the morning the buck's going to come through where the does were feeding and just cross their trails, things like that. So I'm constantly changing things. Another thing I see is somebody, not necessarily a new hunter, but maybe somebody just getting into big buck hunting, something like that, and they have a good year. They shoot one, they shoot two. Well, they go back the next season, and hunt the exact same way, maybe even the same tree, but things like that, and they get locked into a way of hunting, or this is going to work because it worked that season. But deer are constantly changing what they're doing. Well, a mature buck is still going to act like a mature buck anywhere. Like hunting close to a buck's bed's always going to put me in the game, or at least make me think I'm in the game. But I've got to know when and where to hunt and do different things. I can't get locked in to hunting one particular way or one particular area. And one thing I've learned by running dogs is bucks will bed. Those pretty much always lay the same areas. But I don't know what causes it. But from year to year, bucks lay in different locations or different type terrain. So, and some years that makes some seasons a lot more fun than other seasons. I can remember, I think it was back 2016-ish, something like that. We had one of those years where I could pull up a satellite map and point to basically not every buck in the management area, but it couldn't have been far off. Every place I pointed to, I could guarantee you there was a buck laying there because of the type of trees and terrain they were laying in, and it was clumps. But we were taking dogs in there. That was a lazy year of hunting, and we shot a ridiculous amount of deer just because we could take dogs to those spots and jump the bucks up because we knew they were there. But the very next year, you could hit those spots all season long and not jump a single deer because they weren't laying in those areas. So they constantly change. Each season is different. So I won't know as far as running dogs go until we put on a few bucks and jump them. I don't know exactly where they're laying. So if I got locked into just hunting them little clumps from that year that we did great, then I would have a whole lot of years where I wasn't doing much anything because the bucks weren't laying like that. They were completely somewhere else. So that's what I want to talk about is adapting. And I'm big on dates. If I've got a 4-year-old buck on camera on October 20th this year, next year I'm gonna have a 4-year-old buck on the camera, scrape or whatever around October 20th. The dates don't change, but the hunting pressure does. If I have my spot picked out and 2 or 3 other people start coming in, or one other person comes in, then it's going to change that. There's things that buck could get up there during the night or something and smell all the human scent, and he's gone. He's not going to have anything to do with it. So I have to adapt. If there's hunting pressure, then I gotta know, well, I need to move over here. I need to move over here. So I can't get stuck in my spot. I can't get stuck in hunting acorns, just hunting rut, just hunting slough crossings. While it's all good at times, it's all bad at times. So I've got to constantly know what's going on and be making moves. Like there's a place I'll hunt archery season. I could go. The bucks, there's so much browse in these ponds that the bucks won't leave a pond through the summer up till probably the second week of archery. They're locked down in these little ponds, so that means I would have to get in there, either set up on the ground, climb a tree, or whatever, basically within 100 yards of the deer, all while we got wind swirling everywhere because it's Florida. So the first 2 weeks of season, when they're not going anywhere, is extremely tough. So I would just be hunting beds. But as soon as they go to busting up and ranging out and making their winter stomping grounds and locking down their areas and all that, then I know I can be in travel areas. I can be out closer to a food source. Things like that, to where I'm constantly changing. So for 2 weeks I'm hunting one way, then I'm hunting another way, then I'm hunting another way, rut, then I'm hunting another way, staying on does. So it's not like I have, and you can chase the better hunting through the state. Like if I want to hunt zone A when it opens up, basically in the middle of the summer when it's brutal hot, then I can go down there and chase the rut around, and then come up here around the house and still hunt beds early season, and then chase the rut around, and then I can go to zone D and chase a late rut. If you're better at one particular style of hunting, you can chase it across the state because the rut's so spread out. I still have most of my success, I would say, is early season hunting beds. That's majority of my success because I've pinned the bucks down to a small area. Then it just becomes if I can hunt it due to the wind or conditions or whatever without spooking deer. And then pre-rut would probably be my next favorite, or probably is my favorite because I'm seeing a lot more activity pre-rut. When they're busting up and ranging out, and it won't be long before the first doe comes in, things like that, and the young bucks are running around. I'm still hunting beds pre-rut for the most part, but I'm seeing a lot more activity, and it's more enjoyable hunting. There's a lot of days I'll hunt beds and I'm off a little bit, or It's not like we have one bed. There's so many bedding areas, places they can lay, even inside one single pond or one single cypress dome, whatever you want to call them. You may not see, if I'm set up, I can only see 40 yards. He's got 150 yards he can walk around, and I can't see him. So even if I am right on where he's at, then he just didn't come by me. There's all kind of factors, but another thing, and I have a pretty good issue with this one. And I know I do it, and it's at the same time I shouldn't. I really don't care. There's times, even this year, I've got a big buck located that just about keeps me up at night, and I could wait till the last week of archery or something like that when we get a little bit better conditions, and probably go in and shoot the deer. Or I could be hunting opening day and bouncing around and trying to work my way and catch him, which is probably what I'll end up doing, but it's definitely not the best idea. The better idea, if I was just going to be a big buck hunter and shoot that big buck, would be go somewhere else, do something else, go shoot some hogs, and wait till the right conditions and move in there on the buck. Chances are I probably won't. I think one thing that sets Florida apart is we have guys going from here up to Ohio or something. 90% of them shoot the first 140 that comes by, and that's up there. That's a 3-year-old deer. So it seems like the success rate's higher, but there's just more of those deer up north than there are here. If we were trying to shoot a 130-inch deer here, I say most common 130-inch deer here is 5.5 to 6.5, just depending on genetics. But we're hunting, and there's obviously not as many 5-year-old deer, 6-year-old deer here in Florida as there is in a lot of other states. The hunting pressure is a major factor here, and that's why I always say getting away from hunting pressure is where you're going to find the big bucks. And I've said it before, that could be 200 yards behind the main gate or the check station, or it could be 10-mile walk across through no man's land. It just depends on the hunting pressure. But I've seen bucks lay in crazy places just because it's safe. And I think safety is the key thing to remember when hunting Florida. And even rut, we'll kill some older bucks in the rut. But still, it seems like they're not, like if I set up on a transition line and the 2-year-olds, occasionally 3-year-olds, some 4-year-olds are cruising it, we're seeing bucks, we're getting them on camera. That big one is still 100 yards off, 80 yards off, in the thicker woods, and he's not doing what the younger deer are doing. So you gotta hunt him different. Gotta get out in there where he feels comfortable. I read the thing, I guess it's statewide, the management areas now, for the new personal property rule for having a permanent name and permanent tag attached to the cameras and tree stands and all that, which I really don't leave any tree stands, but for the cameras we gotta have our ID numbers and stuff on them now. Which I'm not a fan of cell cameras on public land anyway. I'm not one for more rules, but I would be fine if they outlawed cell cameras on public property. Another thing just came to mind. Summertime, just say now it's mid-May, so bucks everywhere in Florida now are still in velvet, grouped up bachelor groups. A lot of guys want to run cameras through the summer, and absolutely I do. I run some cameras through the summer too. But if you're new to it, don't let it discourage you, especially if you go in and you're hanging cameras on rubs and things like that. You may not even get a single picture till, depending on what zone you are, but till the bucks are hard-horned and splitting up. There's some cameras I'll leave out that won't get a single deer picture for 7 months, and then bam, bucks are all over them, especially as the hunting pressure picks up. But where the bucks are in the summer doesn't mean that's where they'll be in the winter. There's multiple occasions I've had bucks, and especially on places where I can ride through and shine them. I'll shine the velvet bucks, and then a little before opening day or sometime during archery season or whatever, the bucks go from here to same bucks I was shining over here. I've got them every day on camera 2.5 miles away. So their summer patterns and everything changes. So don't let that discourage you if you're not getting anything on camera, and then keep that in mind if you are getting a bunch of bucks on camera. Not all of them are going to stay there once they shed velvet and start busting up. You may not get any of them again, or you may have a dominant buck that stays there, or a lesser buck that stays there, and the dominant buck leaves and goes to his stomping ground. Don't get discouraged with it, because summertime pictures are tough, and then you can't really base a whole lot off of it. Really, for summertime pictures, all I'm looking for is to find that big buck. At least know the big buck exists. Know he's alive. If you've hunted for any length of time or known hunters for any length of time, you'll see guys that get locked into the hunting one particular way, and they'll be successful for a couple of years, and then they'll have a dry spell for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, till the bucks do what they were doing that year he was successful. And you'll see that a lot on those years, that those guys are on cloud nine. They're on every Facebook group telling you how to shoot big bucks, and then they go 3 or 4 years and they don't kill anything. So you gotta, if you want to be successful year after year, you can't hunt the same way year after year. You've got to adapt to whatever the deer are doing, and that's why some seasons are more fun than other seasons. Well, I hope that was helpful in some sort of way. I know some guys are still up north turkey hunting, and I'm done turkey hunting for the season. I had a good fun season, but it'll be deer season here in another month and a half or so, not long. So anyway, good luck to everybody. Yeah, good luck on the quota entries for all y'all guys that put in for quotas. But we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.